In 2023, I've had to change my whole approach to how I find Airbnbs. I'm going to tell you how I used to find them and how I find them now. So while I said it was a gut feeling, what I was looking at was an enemy method. What was available to support the potential demand, and it wasn't there. Now that there are things called STR Insights, AirDNA, and Rabu, there are new ways to pull data and really take a look at what's even available in the market and what is it earning. So how do I look at things in 2023? I jump on at least two of those sites. Why? Because I want to cross-reference the data, because sometimes they do not pull the same data. Okay, everybody, so the two quickest ways to figure out your market is come up with that gross rent to purchase price ratio. I typically won't buy anything that's not at least at 20%. Let's say I'm buying a property at $500,000. That means I need it to make at least $100,000 of gross income to make it make sense. If I'm buying $250,000, I need it to make at least $50,000 for it to make sense. You follow me? And of course, at $1 million, we're going to need it to make at least $200,000 to make it make sense. Coincidentally, I had a student send this over to me recently, and this property was going for $550,000. So what are we looking for? We want to make sure it makes at least $100,000. All right, guys, when you get to AirDNA, you're going to see these four boxes at the top: market grade, average daily rate, occupancy rate, and revenue. In this situation, it's all based on the city you have up here or the zip code. Market grade is a combination of these 5 factors: rental demand, revenue growth, seasonality, regulation, and investability. Truth is, I don't give this market grade a whole lot of merit. Why? Because it's highly unlikely AirDNA or anyone else has done the due diligence that I have done or will do when it comes to this market. I'm confident when I tell you that when it comes to regulation, almost every one of these sites is going to be wrong. Why? Because I've seen these regulations change within a week. So the only way to really tell regulation is to look up short-term rental regulations and put in the city or township name. Automatically, something should come up on their website or other documents they've drafted, which will let you know their stance when it comes to short-term rentals. Now, the thing beyond that you should always be doing, this is a pro level tip, ding, is you want to call the city. You don't even want to call them once, you want to call them 3 times. Why? Because you want to hear the same consistent message at least twice. And sometimes it takes 3 calls talking to different people to find out where they're at. And some of those questions are going to be, hey, first, are short-term rentals allowed right now? And what's the regulation or licensing? Second, are there any meetings coming up that will influence or change the current regulations? And 3, is the city or township generally for or against rentals? Because that may give you a stance on what their stance and leniency will be and whether or not they will be supportive of you continuing to do that business in that city or area. So automatically, when I read this market grade, I pretty much immediately don't even consider it, because I think regulation is already a lost cause. And if 20% of what market grade equates to what that B- is, and I already don't believe that that metric is accurate, I'm not paying attention to it. As for average daily rate, occupancy, and revenue, average daily rate and occupancy are a function of what revenue ends up being, right? Depends on how much you're renting it per day and how often. That's revenue. And I already know occupancy is going to be skewed. One thing that people don't tell you about all the data sites for short-term rentals is that the occupancy rate can be completely skewed. For instance, let's say you use that property only seasonally, or sometimes even for your friends and family. You just use it for personal use. If the host blocks those days out at whatever the average rate is, that's going to skew your revenue and what your occupancy actually is. That's also what you already saw when we were hovering over the other properties and noticing some of them had really high income, 300,000, but it only had 7 stays. It's simply not accurate. That's why taking 1 or 2 comps in any given city and presuming that's what it's going to be for you is a really ignorant way to go about this. I put the city in here in AirDNA, and I wanted to find out if there was other comparable data for the size of the house that would make similar income. So the next thing I'm going to do, because this is a 4 to 5 bedroom, is I'm going to make sure that only 4 to 5 bedrooms are selected. So boom, now we have 4 to 5 bedrooms all picked, right? Now I'm going to zoom in. Why am I not going to pick Lake Belair? Well, the truth is this property is not on Lake Belair. You don't want to pick a lakefront comp, which is probably more desirable to most people, and then compare it to a non-lakefront comp and think that it's going to make the same amount of money. Is it possible? Yes, but you got to have way better amenities and way better sleeping arrangements. Those are typically the only ways you'll compete with a non-lakefront property that is at the same size. This property we're looking at is kind of in this area. Let's hover over some of these properties and see where they're coming in at. That one's 35, 133, 43, 24, 53. This one's at 298,000. Generally, what you're seeing is the area of the house we're looking to buy. Additionally, when you're looking at the revenue, you want to look at how many stars and reviews they got. For instance, this one has 82,000 in revenue. It's got 34 stars. That's not bad. It's a 4-bed, 3.5 bathroom that's supposed to sleep 12. Because this is a similar sized house and it's making pretty good income, I want to make sure I use this as one of my data points. So I'm going to make sure I check this out. I want to find a few other properties that look good. This one says it's making 298,000, but look at that, only 7 reviews. That means probably hasn't made 298,000. And this is one of the biggest faults of all of these data analysis tools. Sometimes it skews it. It takes an estimate of what it should make if it continues to rent at the rate it's being offered at. Here's a really good one. This one's getting 159,000 and it's got 51 reviews. This will probably be an excellent comp. So we definitely want to check this one out. Here's another good one. This one made 126,000 with 104 reviews at 4.9. Definitely going to be one of our competitors. Let's find two more and then we're going to review the comps. So this one made 171,000 and has 29 reviews at 4.9. As you can see, I'm skipping over a lot of these ones because they don't seem to be making a lot of money. It doesn't mean I don't want to check these out and understand them better, but it does mean we want to understand why they haven't made enough money yet. And there's only a few reasons. A, they suck. B, they haven't had enough time to amass reviews and income. Or C, I can expand on A, which was that they suck. They suck at what? Maybe the listing is put together improperly. Maybe they're not doing a really good job with marketing and SEO. And third, maybe the design and furnishing is really subpar. There's all these things that could be contributing to that, as well as a lack of amenities and potentially poor management, meaning maybe they started off with some really bad reviews and it's completely hurt their trajectory on Airbnb. Okay, so now that we've picked a series of properties that are all in the hundreds, we're gonna go take a look at them and see what they look like. And we're gonna start working on what's called the enemy method. With the enemy method, we'll be able to examine which properties are doing well and how we can do better. Pretend it's a competition, a fight to the death. If you have 4 bedrooms and we have 5 bedrooms, we're probably gonna be able to do better. If they have a B-level design and we can do A-level design, we're gonna beat them. While we're looking at these listings, if we see in the reviews that the cleaning, communication, or management in general was subpar, and we know we can do a better job with all 3, we're gonna beat them. These are all the ways that we use the enemy method to make sure we can do better than the current competition. And again, when it comes to researching a new market, what's great is we see a bunch of properties which show a lot of data. And if we can see that the majority of them are not gonna be as high level as what we would produce, that's a really good opportunity to enter that market and crush it. On the contrary, if you look at Kissimmee, Orlando area where Disney is, you'll see some of the highest levels of design and furnishing I think I've ever seen. That's a market, to be frank with you, even though I think we're really great at furnishing and design and management, I don't want to compete at that level. And the truth is, I don't have to. You have to pretty much buy $1 to $1.5 million worth of property to even start to compete. In Michigan, you can be between 600 and $1 million with a lakefront property and compete at a very, very high level to the point where there is almost no competition at all. Wouldn't you rather do that at almost half the price? That's what I do. Okay, let's take a deeper dive into the competitors to see if we should continue to pursue this property. I'm going to start getting it down to my top 5 that I think are good comps and things that I need to focus in on and consider enemies because I think they are excellent competitors. So this one has 38 reviews and it's a 5.0. I got to figure out why this is a perfect property with 38 reviews. Definitely using this one. This one's a 5.0 with 31 reviews. Got to figure this one out. This one's a 4.94 with 35 reviews. This is definitely a competitor. This is a 4.94 with 17 reviews, but it's got 750 a night. This has the highest nightly rate, so I still want to think about this one. This one's perfect, but I can already see it's kind of boring with the photos and looks a little worn out. And also it's got the lowest average. So I'm actually going to remove this one. And lastly, this one's 700 a night. It's got the lowest reviews and only 10. I actually want to see why it's doing so poorly. Look at that. The number one thing that's doing the worst is cleanliness. Automatically, this isn't even a factor. Why? Because we are so good about making sure we pick the right cleaners and we give them explicit communication on how to make sure it's clean every time. Plus we get photo evidence to make sure it's been cleaned meticulously. Guest ever complains, we want to be able to show them that, hey, within the last 24 hours, this is how we left it. So please show us what's different. That will actually help you in the future if they ever try to complain about cleanliness. Because this one has such a high daily average, I want to take a peek at it and see what's really so majestic about it. Automatically, it's a cool property. It's a log cabin. It's got kind of a cool view. Looks generally done up nicely. Very standard though in the bathroom, kind of aged with the glass block tile. And honestly, it gets a little drab toward the end, but it does have a triple set of twin bunks. But look at that. It's also in the living area. So you're going to lack on privacy here. So I actually don't think this is that great of a property, but it is proving to me that it can do very well. As for this one, really neat, kind of older style, nothing too exciting. You know, it's kind of a style. It's not my vibe, but I would definitely consider it if I have a lot of people I'm trying to accommodate. But I would want more modern and nice. This one looks like another master suite. So they're packing the bedrooms in there, but honestly, some people want privacy. And here's another multi-bed bedroom that might take away from that. Even in this property, what do you see? You see watermarks in the ceiling. That looks fun, but it looks a little tired and dated. Here's another property. This one is probably the cleanest, most modern yet. Beautiful, beautiful, great room. Better pictures probably than any other property we've seen. Has some fun game things going on. Okay, very cool. More multi-bed bedrooms. So it seems to be par for the course. So maybe it's not such a big deal if you have a bunch of beds in a bedroom. This looks really cool. I like that. And a cool communal fire pit overlooking the golf course. Honestly, that's a great property. This is the only other property I'm going to show you guys. Apparently, this has the best ratings and most reviews. So we want to see what's going on here. Overall, I don't think this is a great first image, but it is showing that it's a pretty nice size layout for the living room. So a lot of communal fun times can be had. These are definitely not high-end photos. These are not professional photos in any way. They're really focused on showing the grounds as a golf resort community. Here's some reminders that you can also do some skiing. Okay, this is noteworthy. It looks like they have access to a pool year-round. That's definitely an amenity that the house we're looking at does not have access to. So I think the only way to compete with that is either add the pool or definitely have a really great hot tub and outdoor setting. So that's it. We've looked at a bunch of the enemy methods. If you wanted to dive in further, we can do that. The next steps would be getting deeper on these 3 properties that I found to be the best properties in the area, figuring out how we can compete. Again, it's going to be easier for us. We're going to have nicer, newer furnishings, better decor, better photos, and likely better cleaning and management. Those are the 5 ways we're going to be able to compete at the highest level in this area when we get this property taken down. So that's a quick way of me showing you how I have used AirDNA to identify markets that I want to do further research in and potentially buy in. Additionally, if you're looking for even more information, we have the STR Legend Mastermind we'd like to invite you to. And if you want a taste of what that is, we actually have the link to the mini course, a little sampling of what you're going to learn. My name is My Broker Matt, and I've been in real estate for over 12 years, and I've been investing in Airbnbs for over 5 years. I now own over 31 Airbnbs and 51 total properties. If you want to learn anything else from me, please hit the like and subscribe button and let me know what other type of content or questions you want answered. Thanks.